Recording. All right, so we have Leah on tonight, and we are so excited to hear from you. So first of all, tell us where you're from, and tell us all about your story, how you found It Works, and how it's changed your life.
Well, hey everyone, and thank you so much, Morgan. I told you when you asked me to do this soon, but I've basically been following you since day one, so this is a big deal. I'm kind of nervous, but it'll be fine. So my name is Leah Gadet. I am from Quebec, Canada, so I am French and have a little accent, so pardon me. But yeah, I'm 27 years old, and I joined the business in January 2017, so a bit over 2.5 years. And I joined for an extra $200-300 a month, like most of us, and was super busy at the time. So I was waitressing at 2 restaurants. I was working full-time at government, and didn't have a lot of time, but just made it work. Back then, our kit came with just 4 wraps and a little defining gel. So when I got the kit, tried them on, shared my results, and then started recruiting right off the bat. And with the fast start bonus, I was able to get some hair, skin, nails, and share my results from that as well. So that helped me go diamonds pretty quick. In 3.5 months, I was diamond, was able to quit my restaurant jobs, which was awesome. I earned a $10,000 bonus as well, so that was super great. And then I went double diamond pretty fast too. So within 7 months, I was a double, and then I got super comfortable. So, you know, money was awesome compared to what I was making. And I kind of just thought the team would like coast me through, you know. To my surprise, that's not what happened. I lost rank as fast as I got it and struggled throughout all of 2017 to get double back. Made it to conference as a double diamond, paid as ruby, so it was quite the fall. And I just went because I had already purchased a ticket, and I just didn't want to waste a ticket. I was pretty much on the verge of quitting, to be honest. So came out of conference. It was life-changing, like always. Went from paid ruby to diamond right the next month. And then through 2018, kind of struggled with my why, to be honest, and just throughout the whole year of 2018, I think I maintained double for 2 months, like just being real honest here. And then in November, got pregnant, and January, right from the beginning, it was a very stressful pregnancy. The doctors kind of knew something was up. And then in January, I had a miscarriage. So for those 3 months, for that 3-month period, I was so out of it. Obviously, I was stressed out, and it just, you know, my mind wasn't right. Thank you, Morgan. My mind wasn't right, and I just, you know, I just felt like not only my life was falling apart, my business was too. Like, just everything was going wrong. But when I did have the miscarriage, I sat down with my amazing boyfriend, and this was January 11th. And I had my conference ticket just so I could get those coupon codes, but I had no airfare, I had no hotel, I had nothing planned because I wasn't going. But when this happened, I sat down with my boyfriend. I said, I just need to get to conference. I know I have to be there. And so he said, go. So super last minute, booked a flight, ended up taking like a whole 2 days to get to conference. We stayed in the crappiest Airbnb ever. Like, we literally heard gunshots one of the nights, I swear. It was so crummy, but we made it. So it's quite the story now. But so went to conference as a paid diamond this past January. February, well, when they announced the new charts, my enroller texted me, and she says, and she's Caroline Bouchard. If you guys don't know her, she's French, she's a little blonde, and she's super cute. She's an ambassador over here, and she texted me, and she said, I think you're ready for a triple. And I was like, what? Girl, you're nuts. Like, I can't even maintain a double diamond, like, seriously. But I'm like, okay, if Cabo believes in me, I guess there's something there, right? So we just put our heads down, we got to work, we went triple in February. And then I texted Caroline in April, and I said, I'm going prez. And I think she thought I was crazy at that point. And she's like, well, okay, you know, go for it. And for prez, we needed about 40,000 in volume. Like, it was an insane jump. And we made it happen in April. We went prez. By the way, I was working full time throughout all this. And I told my boss I was not going to be coming into work anymore on May 24th. So I've been at home since then, and it's just been life-changing. I've paid over $50,000 in debt. I'm now debt-free as of August 16th. So it's just been such a whirlwind and such an amazing experience.
Oh my God. I love that so much. And there's some things I want y'all to make sure that you caught from her story. So I wrote those down. Some of the cool things that she said. So number one, you said that you went diamond in 3.5 months, right? Okay, so there's a lot of people. I want you to drop a 1 if you've been in this business for at least 3.5 months. Drop a 1 below. You've been in for 3.5 months or longer. Okay. And I'm looking at these names, and I know that not all of them are diamonds. So what I want to ask you is, what is the difference between you, who went diamond in 3.5 months? And we know that everybody's story is different. So I'm not asking for you to tell us like, oh, well, you know, like I have this, you know, personality. Like it's not about that. It's not about who you are. It's about what you do. So I want you to tell me what the difference between your work ethic to get to diamond in 3.5 months versus somebody that's been in for 3.5 years and is a ruby. What's the difference in that work ethic? Or somebody that's been in for 3.5 months and is a distributor. What did you do?
I love that question, actually. It's a question I get asked a lot. And to be honest, like I said, when I was explaining my story, I tried the product and I shared my results. Like, it made such a difference, guys. All the customers, I think in my first month, I signed like 17 loyal customers of wraps and HSN because that's what I was using. And that's the only thing I shared, and I kept on sharing it. And because I was using it, people were trusting me and using it as well. What I also did to go diamond in 3.5 months, and guys, like, I'm so yellow. Like, it's bad. I'm really, really yellow, and I'm super shy in person. Like, I just can't. So it was super hard for me. And like, when I was asking my enroller, like, I need this money. I want to quit waitressing. Like, what do I have to do? And she said, you should go live. Like, live was like this new thing. And I was like, girl, you're crazy. Like, I can't even talk and say I'm actually, I couldn't even like mention I was a distributor in person. That's how shy I was. Just wasn't happening. So I just practice and practice. Like, sometimes I practice like 20 times in front of my mirror. And then I would just say like, okay, just do it. And then I just go live. And then during my live, like, I would have these nervous like rashes all up my neck. And then I would go to shut off the camera and I would shake. And then I would like have to press it like 10 times before it actually shut off. But people got to like me because I was so like such a dork. I don't know. Like, I was just stuttering, and it just got people to trust me, and I was able to enroll. Like, it wasn't anything complicated, but I was just like, exactly, being real and stepping out of my comfort zone. I think that's what we're all super scared to do, but that's where the magic happens, guys. Like, you just have to do it and just have to push yourself that little extra and just try something new. And yeah, that's pretty much what I did. Just shared my results and went live and just kept talking about it.
I love that, and it makes so much sense. Like, it's not like there was anything like crazy that you're doing that you did that were like, oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that? It's like you use the products and talked about them, you know? And it's funny that you said that you're a yellow because I'm red, like just red pretty much. But it's funny because like you said, you were like, I've mostly just signed like wraps and hair, skin, and nails because that's what I was talking to people about. That's what I was using. And I enrolled like 17 customers. So as you were talking about how you were yellow, I was adding up that is 1,428 BV. So guys, how many of you could use 2 products and increase your GV by 1,400 volume in the next 30 days? Please comment a 2 below. If you would like to use 2 products and increase your GV, guys, that is a ruby. Like, that is literally almost a ruby. That plus your 4 customers is a ruby. So if you want to be ruby, go use 2 products. Talk to everybody about them, because here's the thing. When you like a movie, you go and see it and you talk to people about it. If you've never seen that movie, do you get super hyped about it and tell everybody about it? And they're like, oh my gosh, I have to go see that. No, because you don't have anything to tell them about it. You're not excited about it. And she's drinking her collagen, right? Is that collagen? Yeah, perfect example, guys. Be a product of the product, okay? All right. So, the next thing that you said in your story was that you struggled with your why. And I think a lot of people in this, I talk to them all the time and I'm like, what's your why? And they're like, I just want to be financially secure. I'm like, no, sorry, that's not like cool, but like, what does that mean? Dig deeper. Like, you're off to a good start, but that's not it. And so I want you to tell us a little bit about how you found your why and like what it took, like what advice would you give somebody who's really struggling with finding their why right now?
Well, honestly, finding your why, it can be hard. Like for me, it was hard for a while, and your why is going to evolve, and that's normal, and it has to evolve. But you know, when I started off, my why was $200-300, which I made in my first month. So then I was like, I'm good. And then my why became quitting waitressing. Like I hated waitressing. It sucked, you know? So someone who's struggling, I would just say you really have to dig deep. Like you have to, and most of the time, guys, your excuse will kind of point to your why. Like, I don't know, one excuse can be, well, I'm working 3 jobs. I could have said that. I'm working 3 jobs, so I don't have time. So instead it's like, you know what? I'm sick and tired of not having time. So try and think about what your excuses are and maybe really sit down, and honestly, you just have to take the time and really dig deep and find out what it is that's driving you, why you're doing this business. And like just think of what sucks in your life right now. It's not super complicated. Like you just have to, I find that someone who struggles with their why is just someone who doesn't take the time to actually think about it, and write it down. Like take a moment to just think of of how good your life could be if XYZ. Like I was listening to a Zoom, actually, Morgan, I think it was with Katie Bevington, if I'm not mistaken, who's talking about journaling. That's such an amazing thing to do. Just journal like what your perfect life would be, and then just use that as your why. So just take the time to actually write it down, and actually think about it, because we all have one, and it should all be super, super strong. Like even if you don't have children, or even if you're not necessarily like, I don't know, in debt, like you want to travel more, do you want more friends, do you want to grow as a person? Like just think of certain things that you want to improve in your life and let that drive you.
I love that. Okay. The next thing that you mentioned was that you had lost rank, and I was trying to follow along with which year it was, but was it 2018 that you had lost rank down to Ruby, and that when you had the miscarriage, or was that for this past conference?
No, sorry. So the first year I was in the business, I went double pretty fast. Then I lost rank to Ruby at the first conference. Then the second conference, I was double, paid as diamond, and that's when I had the miscarriage. So I went to conference as a diamond, as a paid diamond.
Okay, yeah. So, but it's crazy because, we're getting close to green carpet, and there's so many people that, they're like, oh, I don't know if I'll be able to come now because of blank. And some of it's like legitimate, like work and school and stuff. But some of it's just like, well, like, I don't know, because I have this going on in my life and I have this going on. But I love that you were like, all this is going on. And then I went to conference, and you just like said it like it was nothing. But I was like, whoa, you still went? Like, do you know how many people would have said, you know what, maybe next year? And what would you have missed out on had you just said, you know what, maybe next year? I guarantee you probably wouldn't be a presidential, because you wouldn't have had that fire and been around these people. You went from paid as diamond to paid as presidential by the end of April, correct? Like, who wants that? Okay, so let's do some math. January to March, or January to February. Wait, no, conference was in February. No, January, end of January. So
Yeah.
February, March, April. So that's being like, let's just call it 4 months. Okay, so green carpet is the end of September. So October, November, December, January. So who by the end of January would like to promote from diamond to presidential, or let's see, how many ranks is that? Double, triple. So how many of you would like to promote 3 times in the next 4 months? Because she was already double, but she was being paid as diamond, so she re-ranked double and then ranked 2 more times. Comment below, because I know I would. Hello, Diamond 2.0. Yes, please. I would love to do that. So that's what events do, guys. Like, the reasons that you have that you can't go, or the exact reasons why you should. Because let me tell you, you're going to have obstacles when you try to go to something that is going to change your life, because the enemy doesn't want you to go there. The enemy does not want you to prosper. He is here to steal, kill, and destroy. And he doesn't want you to go to conference because he knows what that's going to do for your family. He knows the good that's going to do for your business. And he knows how much you're going to be encouraged. And he hates all of that. So of course you're having obstacles. Of course you're facing challenges right now. If you're not facing challenges, then that's something that then you're not doing enough. But if you are facing challenges, then that's a sign that you're doing what you've been called to do, and that means you're walking in purpose. So you should count it a privilege whenever you're going through obstacles, and don't use those as like, oh, well, it's hard, so I shouldn't do it. That's not true. There's going to be so many things in your life that are so hard that you should do anyways. And you're called to grow through those obstacles and through those challenges, even if that's just going to green carpet and saying, you know what? No, like I am going to take control of this, and I am going to get there come hell or high water. And I'm going to learn whatever God has for me there, because I know that it's something so big that Satan's trying to not get me there. So like you have to get to green carpet, you have to get to conference, and that's coming from someone whose life changed from getting to conference / green carpet too. So I love that. Whatever your reason is that you can't go, after her story, I feel like none of us really have an excuse, you know, like that was pretty crazy. And like, I don't know. Okay, and the other thing is that you worked full-time up until presidential, and I love that because I think that, or like through, like you had promoted to presidential and then you quit. Aaron Tweed did too, and I know a lot of other top leaders like really worked until they were triple or presidential. And I love hearing those stories because people will make excuses for themselves because of lies that they believe about other people. Like they're like, oh, well, this person only got to triple because of course, like she wasn't working full time. So like, that's why she was successful. But like, no, it was because they worked really, really hard. And some of them were working full time. Like I didn't work full time, but that doesn't mean that I didn't work hard. You know, like people don't get it twisted and cheapen somebody else's hustle, because she did work really hard. She did work full time all the way through presidential. So if you're somebody that's working full time and you're like believing this lie that you keep telling yourself that you can't get there because of your job, stop. Like stop letting that hold you back. That's literally just a lie that you keep telling yourself so long that now you've begun to believe it. And so that's obviously not true, because Leah just told us, like, what the heck? Like I just love that. So, okay. The next question that I wanted to ask you was, you talked about bringing in like just insane amounts of volume whenever you were promoting to presidential. So how did y'all do that? What were some tasks? Because I know that there are people right now that are like, oh my gosh, I would love to go Ruby before the end of the month. I feel so far, but how did you do that? Or people are shooting for diamond or wanting to re-rank back to their, you know, highest rank that they've ever been paid. So what are some ways that you brought in that volume that they could take away from this Zoom? And y'all write this down. Even if you're not a note taker, write this down, because what's going to happen if you don't is that you're going to hear all these amazing ideas, and then you're going to walk away and be like, I don't even know where to start. But it's because you're like, you're going to forget what she said. You're going to be like, wait, what was this thing? Like, oh, never mind. I just won't even do it. But if you could literally take a planner, if you have a planner right now, take a planner, and each tip that she gives you, write one down for tomorrow, write her next tip down on Wednesday, write her next tip down on Thursday. And so you're going to do one of her tips tomorrow, one of her tips, like on through like that, just like Julia, like write them down. If you don't have a planner, just write them on a napkin. I don't care, but write them down. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so basically for that insane amount of volume that we needed, we don't cold message. It's not because, I don't know, I'm just too yellow for that. Like I just don't feel comfortable doing it. So it's not something we do. So instead we had to be resourceful, and obviously we used host to post, like, hello. So I have like a method of how we host a post, and it worked really, really well. So first what we did is started off with a contest. Like, so we do like a team contest where everyone pitches in like $10. Then we get a nice present and we do a draw with that. If you don't have a team contest, you can just, you know, check your auto ship, or, you know, grab a pack of wraps or something and just do a contest. Okay. So I'll post it on my wall. Who wants to win, let's say $100 in free groceries this month? Comment an emoji. Boom. You get like 100 comments or whatever. So then every single person that comments is going down in my notebook. So what I do is I message every single person, and I explain that for them to be put into the draw, all they do is put up a little post for me, and then the deal is done. So every person who replies yes, I will write yes next to their name. And the reason I do that is because every 2 days, I go back and look at every single person who said yes. And I just go and see where our conversation was at. Because oftentimes I'd say like one time out of two, the person will say yes, that they'll do it for me. And they just forget, or the baby wakes up, whatever can happen, and they just don't do it. So every 2 days I'll go back, just make sure everyone who had said yes actually posted. And if not, I'll just say something like, hey, Julia, did you have the time to do that post for me so I can enter you into our draw? And oftentimes she'll be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I completely forgot. I'll do it right now. So that was the first step. Once the posts are up, I would write that the post had been done. And every single Friday, I go through every single post. So the reason I'm doing that is because oftentimes I have quite a few on the go. I sometimes miss someone who had commented and I hadn't seen their comment or whatnot. So I just make sure that I reply to every single person. And on every Friday, what I'll do is I'll go through every single person that had commented, and I'll just go check in Messenger where our conversation was at. Oftentimes I'll talk about price or the products I'm suggesting, and then the conversation will just kind of go flat from there. So what I do every Friday is I'll go do my follow-up and just say like, hey Tara, did you have time to read the last message I sent you? And then oftentimes, I swear guys, like 8 times out of 10 they'll be like, oh, so sorry, I forgot to reply, and then they reply and it gets the conversation going again. So another thing that I find super, super important with Host to Post is voice message. Host to Post potentials aren't the same as your regular Facebook potentials, in my opinion, just because they've just been added to your friends list, hopefully. So they don't know you. They have no idea who you are. They have never seen your post before. Like, it's just a post from a friend. So when this happens, I want to make sure that this person gets to know me ASAP. So I'm voice messaging like crazy. I want them to hear my voice, to hear that Chloe's in the background, laughing or whatever, or the TV's on, or I'm stuttering, or I messed up my voice message. It's fine. I want them to understand I'm human. So I'm voice messaging them all the time. And what I'm also doing is every other day, I'm going live on my page. I know it can seem scary, especially if you're new, but guys, just do it. Like, it's so worth it. Every single time I go live, even when my lives suck, it still happens. But every single time I go live, I at least get a new potential, if not a new LC or a new DT, like every time. So let's say I was Host to Posting a lot for keto coffee and chocolate greens. I'm going live on keto coffee and chocolate greens every other day. And at the beginning, I was like, geez, I'm probably going to be annoying for a few people, but no, I get new potentials every single time for my lives. And I can't tell you how many times I've been told, like, okay, I've watched like 7 of your lives now. You've convinced me I want that coffee. And it's like all the time. So going live, voice message. And so, yeah, Host to Post is what we were doing for that. Another trick I was doing, so those who hadn't commented on my contest, I would go into green light. Like I said, I just don't do cold messaging, so I'd make sure and instruct the team that they're talking to people that they had kind of built a relationship with. So either, wish them a happy birthday by messenger, or, talked about their cat or whatever. If you've talked to them once, ask them to Host a Post for you. So we were doing green light. I had also messaged all of my old LCs, asked them to do Host a Post for me. All of my old DTs, even the inactive ones, I wanted them to do Host a Post as well. And yeah, we just got it done. And another thing I did also was, I forget which leader it was, but one of them showed us in like the Lifers page, like the thermometer thing. And at the beginning, I was super scared to do it because we needed like 40,000 in volume. And I'm like, the team's going to think I'm crazy. Like, it's going to discourage them. But, I was like, you know what? I'll just be super, yes, Amanda. I'll just be super honest and raw with them. And what that created was like this insane momentum, because people on my team who were distributor, Ruby, going for diamond, going for double, who needed 500, 2,000, 5,000 BV, were seeing me needing 40,000 and going like, holy crap. Like, if Leah's going for 40,000 BV, I can go for 500. And it just created like this whole sense of team. So be real and honest with your team and let them know what they need. And like, yes, the volume was crazy, but the people I chose to go triple and to go pres weren't the people who were my top enrollers. They were the people, I'm yellow. It was the people with the most heart. And I could just tell that they wanted this business and needed this business so bad. Like one of my girls, who's one of my triples now, she went from paid Ruby to triple in 3 months. And she was in the business for over 2 years and paid Ruby, guys. And she's the one I chose because I knew she would bring it. Like I just knew she would work hard with me, and I knew she was showing up, she was being consistent, she was always doing the daily tasks, So let your team know what you need, and be honest with them and just get to work. Like it's not super complicated. You just have to really do it and do it very consistently. And maybe depending on the goal you want, like, I was doing quite a few host to post, but we needed insane volume. But so, tailor it to what your goals are, but be consistent with it daily.
I love that. And a couple things I want to add. Number one, I want that girl's name because I want to give her a name. The one that went from Ruby to triple.
You want her name?
Yes, I literally want to know. Does she speak English?
She does. I'll write her in the chat for you.
Yes, I want to know her name. Okay. Second thing is, what was I going to say? Oh, whenever you're talking about voice message, I love that because I think so many people are afraid to voice message, but I love that you talked about how like you would like have the background noise. It didn't have to be perfect, and it's almost better when it's not. So I like whenever I'm voice messaging too, like I always tell people what I just did or what I'm doing. So like if I'm driving in the car, I'm like, sorry, I'm driving in the car. Like I thought it'd be easier to send you a quick voice message. But anyway, yeah. So then like I'll tell them and they're like, oh my gosh, like I drive in a car too. And that sounds so stupid, but they're like, okay, I can relate to her. Like, oh my gosh, sorry, like I'm cooking dinner. Things are crazy, but yes, okay. And like I talk to them, like then not only are we talking about the products, but they're like, wait a second, like she does this business and she sounds like a hot mess. Like I could do this too. I've had so many people basically say that in a really nice way and be like, wait, how do you do the business? And I get a lot of potentials just from doing that. Oh yay. Just reading the chat. But anyways, so I think that that's super huge. I'm trying to think of all the things that you said. I love that you said too that you don't have to be a mass enroller, or like it wasn't the people that were mass enrollers. Not that there's anything wrong with that. And I'll hit on this for a second because a lot of people are like some people are just like polar opposites. Like you have to be a mass enroller. And then other people will say, don't be a mass enroller. You don't want to be a mass enroller. I think that, you know what, like do whatever you can. Like if you share your life and you share these products and you're able to do this consistently at a pace that you can maintain and you're a mass enroller when you do that, then okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And people that are like, well, I don't teach my team to mass enroll. Well, it's because they don't mass enroll. So they're not going to be able to teach their team how to do that because it's not something that they do. It's not because it's better. So I wanted to hit on that because I think that people are getting caught up in like, is it good to mass enroll? I don't want to mass enroll, but no, I need to mass enroll. And like, so there's a balance. There's a blend between that. Like if you are, then keep going and teach your team to do that. And if they're not, then that's okay. It doesn't mean they're not a rock star. But if you can't do that, do your steps to success. Like that's amazing, but teach your team to do that too. Teach duplication no matter what it is. But I love that because people get caught up in that and they hear people that mass enroll and they're like, well, how did you go presidential? Well, I signed 76,287 customers and that is how I went presidential. And they're like, okay, never mind. But I love that you were like, you know what? Like we just did it. It was a whole team effort. Like it's not all on you, especially whenever you're hitting presidential. Maybe if you're going Ruby, it is all on you, but it's a smaller chart and you got that. Because I bet Leah did a whole entire Ruby by herself when she was going presidential, but the diamonds were helping themselves and the triples were helping their teams and it just all comes together. But making sure that you're teaching your team to do what you're doing, because if y'all can all do the same thing, it's going to continue like to guide it a whole lot faster. Like I always think of the Finding Nemo, like the scene in that movie where they have like the net, and like they're like swim because like the boat's taking the net up and all these fish. And then like Marlon and Mo are like, swim down, tell everybody to swim down. And then Dory's like, swim down. And then they all start swimming down and they break the net off the boat and then they just like are released. And so that's what I feel like it is whenever we're all headed in the same direction, like we're all on the same page. And it moves everything. Like, you know, you can't do it by yourself, but if you can get everyone on board, you can do that. And I love the like thermometer thing that you did too. There was one other thing I was going to say. Oh, it was okay. So you said be super consistent whenever you were talking. You were like, you know, just do it and just be super consistent. And I love that. And I want to add on to that she wasn't only consistent the last 10 days that she needed this volume. And that's where some of you need a huge wake-up call, because a lot of you are waiting until the last 10 days. This is my red coming out. I hear y'all complain and come to me about your volume and your paycheck and your chart, but I hadn't heard you for the first 21 days of the month. And then you come to me the last 10 days and you're like, I've been working so hard for 72 hours and I didn't get nothing. Okay, because you didn't do anything for the last 21 days, so you ain't got no seeds to harvest, and that's why you haven't signed anybody. Has very little to do with the work that you're doing right now, because I guarantee, like, Leah probably signed people on the spot because you can do that, like 100%. But the majority of the people that we sign, and give me a 3 if you agree, are follow-ups. The 14 people follow-up, we say that because it's true. So if you are going for a promotion and you're waiting until the last 10 days of the month to work and you go live, you won't have the same results that Leah did. You just won't, because you didn't work like Leah did at the first 21 days of the month. Does that make sense? Because I hear so many times, like, well, what am I doing wrong? It's not what you're doing wrong now. It's what you did wrong before. And so you're playing catch up this whole last 10 days. And then you work so hard for 10 days and you're spinning your wheels and you don't see any fruit or very little fruit. You get frustrated and you give up and you stop working for the next 21 days. And then it happens all over again. And you wonder why you're still Ruby. That's why. Because it's consistent effort. Every day, not when you feel like it, every single day. And it's not at the very end of the month whenever you need to just scrape in all the volume. It's all the time. And then you're going to have those seeds and they're going to harvest. That's why you have these crazy, miraculous stories, because they've been planting seeds and then they finally all harvest. And they did put in 10x the effort. So I think it all goes together. Okay, so the next thing I want to ask is, I'm going to skip around on the questions, but for somebody that's saying, or like, what would you say to somebody who feels like they're holding themselves back with the excuses as to why they can't be successful? We hit on this a little bit already, because you were saying that your excuses kind of point to your why, and saying that, I have 3 jobs, so I can do this business. Well, you could use that and say, well, I have 3 jobs, so I need to do this business. And I see that all the time, but I would love to hear what you would say to somebody, even if it's not necessarily just about being busy. Maybe it's about they don't know enough people or whatever. Like, what would you say to somebody who's just holding themselves back because they're telling themselves that they can't do it?
Well, honestly, guys, mindset is everything. You probably hear it all the time, but it is at least 80% of your success. Top leaders do personal development on a religious base. It's every single day without fail, and that's not for nothing. We do it because we need it. Okay. I don't know, the difference between, I find, top income earners and top leaders and presidentials and triples and doubles or whatever is, and a distributor or Ruby or someone who's been stuck at a rank for a long time, is that we don't let our excuses get in the way of what we have to get done. Personally, I let my excuses get in the way for the first 2 years of my business. And when I finally decided that is enough, and I let that pain that I was going through become my motivation and become my drive, that's when everything changed. So think back on your excuses and why you're letting yourself go there. Oftentimes I'll hear yeah, well, I have 3 kids, and it's just, let that excuse become your why. Like I was saying later on, if I don't know, if you say, yeah, but I have 3 kids, or I don't have enough money to pay for even eSuite. Well, if you don't have enough money for eSuite, that should be such a huge drive. If you don't have that, I think it's $27 it costs in US money. guys, that should be your motivation. So that's the only difference between top leaders and a, someone who's stuck or someone who's letting their excuses get the better of them, is that we do personal development. We work on each other every single day, because being successful is hard. Like, it's not a walk in the park. And whether we were working full time or not, like, it's a lot of hard work, and you don't just get that success and get those results by doing nothing and not by working hard, right? So get out of your head. And if you're into this like excuse mindset, plug into some awesome personal development, plug into some great YouTubes. You have so many awesome resources for you guys. Like, you just have to get yourself out of that funk. No one's going to do it for you. So you just really need to remember your why, and just really focus like super hard on that. And that should help you get yourself out of the funk. And if you need to, text your enroller, text your sideline, text someone and say like, I need a kick in the butt right now. Like, something's not going right. And just remember why you started. Remember why you need this so badly. And I honestly believe that it's only when you're ready, and only when your mind is ready, that you're actually going to get past those excuses. So work on yourself, and it will come with time. But it's really a mindset thing.
I love that. Whoa. An analogy that I heard. Is that me? Y'all hear that feedback? Okay, wait, it's gone. Okay, so, but yeah, an analogy that I heard a while back was somebody saying like, okay, like you grow yourself and you be like, people say like level up. Okay, well, practically what that looks like is like you're here, okay, and you have this, like you're a level 1 person and you have a level 1 problem. Or I'm sorry, let's call it a level 3 problem. So you're a level 1 person, you have a level 3 problem. That level 3 problem is that you are too busy. Okay, so you grow yourself through self-development. You're listening to podcasts, you're listening to Audible books, you're not just Zooms and not just like tips on the business, because we're talking about like actual like growing your mind, not like learning how to do these like tasks better. Okay, so there's a difference. But you're listening to podcasts, you're listening to Audible books, you're reading books, whatever, and you grow yourself to a level 3. So that problem that you used to look up at and you're like, oh my gosh, like I'm a level 1 person, I'm looking up at this level 3 problem and it's just so big and I'm busy and I just feel like I cannot overcome this. But then you level up because of self-development. Now you're a level 3 person and this is a level 3 problem, and now you're staring it dead in the face and it's not bigger than you anymore. It's something that you can easily tackle. But then you keep growing yourself, and this problem stays the exact same number, but now you're a level 5 person and you look down and that problem's not even a problem anymore. It's just something that is there. It's not a problem, and it's something that, like, I don't know about you, but now whenever I look, like, I mean, we're moving, like I'm going to Honduras in a couple of days. Like, I have a very busy week, but I'm not even like, oh my gosh, I'm too busy to work my business. Like, it's just not an option. Like, I don't even look at that and like think like, oh, I'm busy. Like, I don't know. It's just like non-negotiable. Like, it doesn't even make sense for me to say like, oh, I'm too busy to do the thing that allowed me to do this in the first place. You know, like that, how much sense does that make?
Exactly. And like at one point you'll just get sick and tired of the suck you're in. Like, I was tired of working 3 jobs and not having time with my family and not having money. So like at one point you just get so sick and tired of the life you're living that you just like you just do it. Like, you just put your excuses aside and you just get to work, and that's where everything changes.
I love that. Okay, so the next question that I have for you, because we have this $200 double fast starts, which is so exciting. Drop a 4 below if you are so pumped for that. And then tell me how many of these that you're claiming. Or tell me like the dollar amount. So are you going to make $200 because you're signing one distributor? Are you making $1,200 because you're going to sign one every single day for the rest of the month? What is your goal? Comment below. Okay, and give me a 4 if you're excited. All right, so give us some tips. What is your best distributor signing tip? Obviously, you're not really messaging, I'm assuming. So is it from your lives? And somebody up there, I just remembered, asked, do you do opportunities and then products? Like, do you alternate your lives, or how do you do your lives? And is that where you're getting your distributors from too?
I'd say it's mostly from lives, but what I suggest my newbies to do, and what I do, and I do this, like, I try and do this every like 3 months or so, just because the story is always changing. But what I suggest you guys do is write out your story. And I'm not saying like don't take 5 minutes or 10 minutes to do it. Like take a solid hour. Write out your whole story, like where you come from, what you, not necessarily like what you've been through in detail, but you know, a glimpse, what you've been through, how it was when you just joined, why you joined, what was that feeling when you joined, what were you going for, what was your goal, what is it now, what do you project for the future? Like just write it out in such detail. And what you're going to do with that is post your story over and over and over again, but not the 3-pager that you just wrote out. What you're going to do is you're going to take bits and pieces of that story and post those bits and pieces over and over and over again. So for example, I'll do a post about how I used to be a waitress and how that sucked and I wanted to get rid of that, so I did. And I'll do a post of you know, in my first month, I had, when I joined, I had no money and all I wanted to do was buy a pair of rollerblades. And when I got that first fast start bonus, I was able to do that. And it's like ridiculous, but that's what I got with that first paycheck, and it was amazing. Then I'll talk about how I'm retired at 27 and how, you know, like just tons and tons and tons of bits of my story. But what's important, especially when you're new, guys, because yes, when we enroll or when Morgan enrolls, like it's awesome, and some people will relate, like especially the Reds, I imagine, to the big bucks or like, you know, that kind of lifestyle. But most people will enroll for the small things, like putting gas into your car, like buying groceries. And guys, get vulnerable with people. Like it helps so much. People don't want a perfect, you know, cookie cutter person. Like they want someone who's real, someone who's honest, and someone who they can relate to. So I don't know, if you're really working hard this week for a fast start bonus so you can go to your groceries and just not stress out at the cash register, like talk about that. Talk about it. And someone else in your Facebook's gonna go like, holy crap, like I actually would really love $100 right now and I could do a stress-free grocery as well. So talk about the little things. So that's what I do every single day. I share the opportunity. And like I said, I share different parts of my story every single day. And yes, I go live, and yes, it does help out a lot, but switch up your game. Like don't just go live or don't just post, like switch it up. So I'll go live, I'll post, I'll do stories, I'll do polls. I do everything and anything I can, but just do it. So if you're just doing one of those, you know, if you're just doing stories or if you're just doing posts, like switch it up. Like I said, get out of that comfort zone. And that's like, honestly, I've never been a mass enroller, and like Morgan was saying, there's nothing wrong with that. But when I push for a promotion, like holy crap, I get it done. Like I enrolled, I think in February, 18 DTs. I had never done that in my life. Like I never even imagined of doing that. And I wasn't doing anything special except for sharing my story in different ways. So that's what I teach the team to do, and that's what I've been doing as well. And when it's just like a regular month, what I'll do is from the 1st to the 15th, I focus on DTs, and then 15th to the end of the month, I focus on loyal customers. But now with the promotion, obviously you guys follow up and just share your story every single day. I swear you aren't annoying. You're going to reach, and when you share different parts of your story, you're going to reach different colors too, which is awesome. Because I swear if I only attracted yellows, like I wouldn't be Prez. Like I need those reds, I need those blues, and Lord help me, I need those greens because I'm negative 1,000% green and I need them in my team. So like just share those different parts of your stories and you'll attract different type of people, different colors, and that's really what's going to build you a strong, solid team.
I love that. And I love that you talked about the little stuff because people get so hung up on, well, I haven't made $1,000,000 yet. Okay. Well, if you wait till you make $1,000,000, start posting about the business, you're never going to make $1,000,000 because you got to post about the business to make money. So it's a catch-22. You have to start somewhere, and everybody starts somewhere. Sharing the little stuff is what people can relate to. You know, like, I mean, if Leah and I told people like what we make as presidentials, like the average presidential makes $14,000 a month, and people cannot wrap their head around that. People like whenever people ask me, because people do for some reason, I guess, I don't know. My mom would always say their mama didn't raise them, but they'll ask you how much money you make, and we'll tell them, and they're like, oh, okay, cool. And I'll be like, yeah, a month. And they're like, wait, a month? And I'm like, yes. Like, people don't believe it. They're like, no, you don't. And So they can't fathom that. So people, like, I used to always look at people like presidentials and ambassadors like they had an advantage that I didn't, or like they had one leg up, because like, of course, who wouldn't want to join Stephanie because she makes what she does. But people don't believe that she makes what she does. Heck, sometimes I'm like, there's no way you make that. Like, I don't even believe it. And so how is somebody else going to? So share the little stuff, because people can relate to not being able to buy groceries. People can relate to putting diapers on credit cards. People can relate to not having, a savings account yet, and you just saved up for one. People can relate to paying off debt. It's so crazy. um but yeah, so anyway, it's crazy. Like, you have to share the small stuff, and it's going to be like so worth it. The other thing too is that, like you said, whenever people get like into their heads about, well, I'm getting on people's nerves, or like people are going to see my post, like I'm posting the same thing all the time. If you're doing this right, you're posting the same thing ish often to all new people. Because this is network marketing. You should never be talking to the same people every single day. I'm talking today to people that weren't even on my social media yesterday. Why? Because I'm adding to my network. Tomorrow, I'm going to share my story. It's going to be slightly different, but it's the same concept. I'm going to share it again. Why? Because there's going to be 100 new people that have never heard my story before. And the people who have need to hear it again before they're going to be ready to say yes. Because it's not the first time you hear it. It's following up. And the fortunes of the follow-up, we talk about that. And a lot of times the follow-up and like the watering of the seed before it actually sprouts and harvests is through our posts, and like continuing to be consistent and following up and posting, and they see our life and they see our freedom, and then they come back and they say, okay, I've been seeing your live video, Leah, or, oh my gosh, Morgan, like I've been seeing all your posts. I saw your live video the other day, and now they're interested. And so it does take time, but you want to be the one they go to. So keep sharing your story and know that you have something valuable to talk about. Also, don't be fooled that the algorithm is so on your side that every single person that follows you sees every single post that you make, because they don't. So they're not seeing the same thing every single time. Okay, last question, because you brought it up a lot, and I loved whenever you talked about it at the beginning. I wanted to just ask you a question about it, because we don't hear from a lot of yellows, and a lot of my yellows, if you are yellow, if you don't know what that is, you need to take the color personality test. But if you're yellow and you're someone who is driven by helping people, and you love to, you're just very caring, you're very nurturing, and all that stuff, whatever yellows do. I have like negative. I'm what you have green, I have that yellow. I have to really force myself to like put myself in people's shoes and have that empathy, like, oh, I feel so bad. It's very hidden. It's fine. It's coming out a little bit more these days, I will say. But anyway, I don't have any type of like, oh yeah, I totally understand how you feel as a yellow. They don't get that from me. So I'd love to hear you speak to my beautiful yellows and their precious little hearts, and tell them how they can be successful as yellows, because a lot of people think like, oh, well, I'm yellow, so like I'm so sweet and I'm just gonna be a sweet little ruby forever. But you can be a freaking dominating yellow ambassador, triple black diamond. So I want you to talk to them about how you navigate that and how you use yellow to your advantage.
Yeah, I love that actually. So first of all, guys, like, I don't know if you're like that, but me as a yellow, like I was saying earlier on, like I was super shy and just like in my shell, and I was just like, I was scared to annoy everyone, and I didn't want to get on anyone's nerve. And, first, I think I heard this in a Zoom not too long ago about, how like Facebook has these ads, like let's say you buy makeup all the time, and makeup will just like randomly pop up onto your Facebook feed, and you'll see that same darn makeup like 27 times, and the 27th time you're like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna buy it. Same thing with your posts. Like, we have to stop caring about what people think. I don't really like, the red is developing, which is awesome. It will develop in you too, I guarantee. But honestly, just think, what I love to think to myself is how many people I could help with this business, like typical yellow. I can't tell you how many moms on my team, or how many, I don't know, students with student debt, or how many people were drowning in debt, who now are full-time at home. That's the best feeling in the world. So when you're scared to post because it might bug someone, or you're scared to ask someone if they'd like to join your team because you think they'd be awesome, just think of how badly they might need this business. This hair is crazy. Just think about how badly they might need this business and how they need you, because everyone needs a bit of extra money. Like, guys, I have lawyers on my team. Like, I never even thought. I was like, what? Like, lawyers make such good money. Like, they have an awesome life. No, like, you never know. There's nurses, doctors. Like, people need this business so badly. Like, I know I needed this business so bad. My life is so different. And what's awesome about this is I'm able to help other people completely transform their lives. And think of it that way with the products too. Weight loss, a mom who just gave birth, who just can't stand her body anymore. Like, just think of it that way, and how you're there to like be that little person who's going to help everyone and just help make everything better type of thing. So I hope this helps as a yellow. But honestly, as yellows, you have to, in my opinion, do even more personal development, I guess, for the mindset side, because we get into our heads so bad, just because we don't believe in ourselves and we don't believe in what we can do, and we're just so scared of bothering everyone. So just get your mind right and just get out of that shell and just do it to help others if you can't do it for yourself yet. But honestly, like, try and do it for yourself too. Like, you deserve this. Yellows are awesome. Own up to it and just work with it that way. And if you need help, you can always shoot me a message.
I love that. Oh my gosh. I love that. Like, I feel like you just empowered all of them. Because I don't know. Like I said, I mean, every color brings so much to the table. And I feel bad sometimes because they're like, I'm a yellow, help me. I'm like, I don't know what to say to you. I don't know how to help you in like a sweet, caring, loving way. Like, I'm just like, just get it done. I don't know. Like, I don't know what to tell you. So like, read the compensation plan. Like, you'll make a whole lot of money. I don't know what to tell you. So I'm glad that you spoke to them, because that's like an extreme. I'm actually not all like that. But that's really cool because it helps even me and like some of the reds on the team or greens on the team or blues on the team. It helps us to see like, that's how yellows think. Okay, like, that's cool. So now we can tuck that away. Like, that wasn't just for yellows. Like, all the colors, tuck that away in the back of your head and recognize the colors of the people that are on your team, so that whenever they come to you, you can be like, all right, they're thinking this because I know from what Leah said, or I know from what I've done, like, learning about colors, like, they're thinking this way, so I'm going to help them by saying this. And so you're able to kind of be a chameleon, because it's really important that you can mold and shape into whatever color you need to be at that time for that person. That makes a good leader. So thank you so much. We can just end it here, but thank you so much. I'm going to stop the recording.